What was she thinking? Why was she so far from town? How did she not see the waterfall? So many questions swirled my mind and I felt a headache forming. "I won't let anything hurt you again," I promised in a whisper, letting my eyes linger on her beautiful face before cautiously scooping her in my arms and holding her firmly against my body. She's freezing and my heart clenched knowing she must be uncomfortable. I kept her close to warm her up but was careful not to wake her, judging by the bags beneath her eyes she's exhausted. I felt immense anger and sadness seeing her so overloaded, she should never feel this burdened. "Our mate is strong," Dax barked proudly, purring in approval and I smiled down at her. "She's the most precious being I've ever seen, and she's all mine." I carried her out the door and proceeded toward my house. In most packs, the Alpha and Luna have a separate house. They're never too far in case of emergencies, but they're far enough for privacy. I've been dreaming of the day where I get to share my belongings with my mate. It's been extremely lonely without her. Entering the house, I pulled the door closed silently and walked her to my room where I set her on the bed. She jolted and I froze, seeing her face morph in pain before falling neutral once more. Did I hurt her? Why did she react that way? Was I too rough setting her down? "You're my queen," I whispered, analyzing her figure more in depth now that we're alone and far from others. My eyebrows furrowed the more I noticed how large her clothes were on her. They also carried many holes and stains. My eyes drifted up to her face again and I frowned. The bones were extremely pronounced, more than I've ever seen, and uneasiness infected my stomach. I wasn't sure what was normal for humans and what wasn't, so I couldn't depict if this was a concern or not. Regardless, I was concerned that I'll be back later, okay? I didn't wait for her response, already aware that I won't be getting one because she's asleep. I stood up and left the room, heading toward the front door already longing to be back with my precious human. "Blaine, you're in charge of guarding your Luna," as I finish reading and signing treaties. "If she wakes, tell me." I mind-linked, exiting the house and already passing by him on my way back to my office. He bowed and rushed inside, bringing a small smile to my face for being so hasty. "I'm going to live of loving mate." My wolf howled, spinning in circles while chasing his tail and I shook my head at him. "Me too, Dax."
Angelica Winters POV. My body was sunken into a strange cushioning and my exhaustion was intense. Confusion suddenly hit me when I remembered I jumped to my death. I opened my eyes in panic, seeing that I was in an unknown room on someone's bed. The only light came from the moon shining through the window and my stomach churned with nausea. I've been sleeping all day. Surely Jade wouldn't have gave me such a luxury, unless the punishment planned is just that bad. I slipped off the bed and took a step toward the door, freezing when I heard footsteps heading this way. As they grew near, I dropped to the floor on my hands and knees with a lowered head, uncontrollably crying at the idea of death by her. I never should have ran. She was bound to catch me again sooner or later. Running only makes it worse. The door whipped open right after my body thudded onto the carpet. Hands were on me not even a second later and I jolted away. I gripped the side of the bed tightly, burying my tear-stained face into the mattress rigidly. "You don't have to be afraid of me," an unfamiliar male voice spoke. I refused to release the bed with small sniffles. "My best friend found you unconscious and brought you here. He helped you." His words were drawled as if they would frighten me and I instinctively ran my fingers over my face, searching for new injuries, then opening my eyes just enough to see them bloodless. A warm feeling fuzzed in place of my nausea and I reached for my neck, jolting my hand away at the unknown object over my wound, yet still no blood covered my hand. Jade never covers my wounds no matter how serious they are. It's gauze. "My friend patched you up a few hours ago. He said you started bleeding and were getting an infection," he added, and I cautiously turned my drooped head, keeping my gaze low. He inched closer and I clenched the bedding, my eye locked onto his body and goosebumps covered my skin. "What happened to you?" he asked quietly. His voice was gentle and I wasn't sure whether to acknowledge him or not. What is he doing? What's his plan? Why is he waiting so long to hit me? Slowly, I shook my head and let go of the bedding. My body shook again when his hand extended toward me in a very slow manner. I rarely eyed his seemingly unthreatening hand and flinched when he placed it on my knee. Confusion swirled within me when his touch didn't hurt. Instead, it was a warm and soothing one. My lip quivered and I continued to tremble, staring at his hand waiting for it to cause me immense pain that never came. "I'm not going to hurt you," he stated. His body inched even closer and my heart shot out of my chest. I jumped away from his advancing figure and curled up, using the hood of the sweatshirt to shield my face. "Would you like a bath to help you relax, possibly warm you up?" he asked. My heart slowed at the offer and I felt myself calm. Bathing is my favorite thing. Even when she'd roughly scratch my skin with a bristled sponge, the warmth of the water always eased my aches. Yet confusion hit me again. I don't bathe until my period ends. I just had my period less than a week ago. I don't shower more than once a month. Then again, who was I to turn him down? He might get angry. I carefully started to remove the sweatshirt from my torso, only making it halfway up my abdomen when my action was quickly halted at the sound of his voice. "Whoa, you could wait until getting into the bathroom before undressing." He sounded almost as confused as I was. My heart started racing at his growing tone and I dropped it back down to cover me. I heard movement and his now standing legs came into view. My nostrils flared at my harsh exhale and he just stood there. Was he challenging me to move so he could hit me? "You can come," he said. His voice remained drawled and his tone was light. I questioned if that was his natural voice, then realizing he will get angry if I don't abide. Quickly, I began crawling to his feet and lowering my head with uncontrolled shakes. His shoes stepped back and a low growl-like noise vibrated my ears. My eyes clenched shut and I squeezed chunks of my hair. I made him angry. "Oh no! Don't bow at me. Get up." His voice strained to be calm, but I sensed anger. Horror pricked my limbs and I jumped to my feet, staring down at the floor, sucking my bottom lip. "Follow me." I hesitantly followed. More confusion circled me as I warily eyed his back. He looked very strong, stronger than my mother, and fear nipped at me. He can hurt me worse than her, far worse. Not only is he stronger, he's way taller, so my only advantage is gone. I thought my height was nice, but eyeing him now I see how wrong I was. I'd have to look up to face him, which I'll never dare. He could snap me in two if I pushed him the wrong way. I'm nothing to him, so he wouldn't bat an eye over my life. He opened a door revealing a bathroom, but randomly stopped, signaling me to enter. I remained frozen in the doorway. Was he not coming with Dot? Am I bathing alone? He suddenly made another angry growl-like noise and I threw myself to the bathroom floor, curling into a ball revealing my neck. I quaked with more tears pouring down my cheeks, expecting his shoe to drill into my ribs or my face. "Shit," he whispered to himself. Shuffling was heard and I winced away at the feeling of his hand on my back. The contact was soft, yet my body remained stiff. "I didn't mean to frighten you," he whispered a little louder. His hand grazed the cloth over the sensitive injuries spread all along my spine and I clenched my jaw to keep my vial down. "What happened out there?" His hand was surprisingly gentle as he brushed my wet, greasy hair to the side to reveal more of my neck. I lowered my forehead to the floor with my arms and knees pressing against my body to shield any vital organs in case he turned violent. "You're so skinny," he muttered. It sounded like my pain transferred to him. "I'll keep you safe." "I won't let you feel this way again," he said lowly, anger still evident in his voice, and I shivered. His hand disappeared from my sweatshirt and relief filled me. That was until the warmth of his fingers connected with my left cheek to expose my face. I jolted myself into the cabinets of the sink in fear for my eye. I kept my face low and my hair hid my features from his sight. He didn't make another attempt to reach out and I tightly held the corner of the cabinet. "I'm sorry this happened to you," he mumbled. I hardly heard him before he stood up and turned the water on. "Take as long as you need. Left is hot and right is cold. Turn them right to add whichever to suit your comfort. Use whatever soap you desire. I'll be back to check on you."